Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Grand Tactician The Civil War, where we're playing the Union career mode. In the last battles it became obvious that we need to take command of an entire army. Therefore I took a long look at our forces to figure out who we should pick. The army of Northwestern Virginia would be the obvious choice, but I also thought about taking over the army of occupation. In total the Union has about 60,000 men under their command, while the Confederates have 33,000. But 24,000 of our soldiers are sitting idle under McClellan's command and haven't moved even though they have no opposition, meaning that our actual numbers are shockingly even. His army is also the largest army in the entire Union force. Still, I think we need to stay in Virginia. If we leave, who is going to protect Washington? Currently we cannot take over command as we are still in combat, but as soon as combat has ended, we are going to take command of our army. And we can see that the 3rd Division is under siege and that the enemy is bringing more and more reinforcements. Soon they might have to withdraw depending what the army of the Shenandoah is planning to do. And we can see that more forces are now starting to move towards the west. And we spent almost all of our prestige, we can now take over the command of Major General Irvin McDowell. We're now in command of the entire army, and it appears necessary that we make some changes. First, it seems necessary that the 1st Division gets some artillery support, and we also need to get some reinforcements for our 3rd Division. Now the army of Northwestern Virginia is getting support by another battery of 6-pounder field guns from Kentucky, a volunteer regiment from Tennessee, and another volunteer regiment from Pennsylvania. We have now taken over command and we took a small look how our forces are looking. And we can see that some of our soldiers are engaged and that Jackson's division is up here relatively isolated. But before we could send any reinforcements towards the 3rd Division, they were repelled. Meaning that the 3rd Division is now marching back to our main lines, where we are starting to gather our forces. If possible, I want to gather our forces, make sure that they are getting resupply, and then if possible we are going to hunt down the army of Northern Virginia and maybe outflank the enemy over this section, depending how the fighting goes. Currently our forces are trying to regather their strength, but some of our men are so disorganized from the continuous fighting that they are unable to move in their entirety. And before we forget, we also have to look at our headquarters. And we can get another Chief of Staff. I know that Major General Irvin McDowell might not be so happy to work with us, and therefore I'm going to get William T. Sherman as our Chief of Staff. Our quartermaster is going to be Colonel Morgan L. Smith. Our subsistence is going to be Colonel Frederick G. Gittesi. Our subsistence is going to be Samuel C. Lawrence. Our head of artillery is going to be Brigadier General Sylvester Churchill. Our chief engineer is going to be Captain Quincy A. Gilmore. And the head of our medical corps is going to be Captain Samuel H. Starr. And with that we are hopefully well prepared for the fighting ahead. And we have accomplished another action. We can see that our health is rapidly deteriorating, we can't get any more rest at the moment. And therefore I'm going to improve our rations to fine dining, hopefully this will get us back to good health. And we're going to spend a little bit of our prestige to study logistics. We are rapidly running out of prestige and money, but I'm sure we can get some of that prestige back shortly. For now we can see that the army of Northern Virginia has withdrawn further to Winchester. They only have 600 soldiers, and over here the 2nd Division of the Army of Occupation has over 16,000. We have now been informed that the 2nd Division is also fleeing in a panic, meaning that all the ground we gained at Manassas Junction is lost. Maybe once the next battle starts, our soldiers are able to get back into the fight. I'm going to order the units that we can forward. But currently the majority of our forces are not ready to move. The army of the Virginia has over 2,400 soldiers, while Sybil's division has 9,000, and the army of the Shenandoah has 17,000 soldiers at their command. Over here, the army of the Peninsula is regaining their strength together with Jackson's division. If possible, I would like to send a lone division out there to drive the enemy back from Winchester, and we have informed that some more Springfield rifle muskets are available on the market. We were able to give out a couple more Springfield rifle muskets to our soldiers, but that is basically all of our prestige gun. In one day, this another fort that we are constructing is going to be ready, securing Alexandria and to a greater extent Washington itself. Our soldiers are suffering from supply problems. Mostly it is artillery ammunition. And the Confederacy has started to invest further into heavy industry as they have enacted their first Industrialization Act. And in Kansas, Secretary Robinson was impeached. He was convicted because of a bond scandal. Our soldiers are still trying to get their organization up, and we can see that the Confederates are starting to push. Let's pause the game if possible. And we are once more in contact with the enemy at the Manassas Bridge. Unfortunately, we only have 7,800 soldiers at our disposal, while the enemy has over 12,000. And we cannot get our soldiers out of there. Very unfortunate. We are getting defeated at the Manassas Bridge. It is absolutely necessary that we get our soldiers back to a fighting shape. And in good news, slavery has been prohibited in the territories. And the US Congress has been empowered to regulate slavery. This was a joint effort by Congress and the President. These are some good news. The bad news are that we aren't able to even get our soldiers out of this mess. Our men are struggling with supply, especially ammunition for our artillery, but we can't even order them to retreat. In the meantime, the Confederates are recovering a lot faster, and with the army of Shenandoah here, together with all of these smaller armies, they can absolutely outnumber us. And another siege battle has started. In this first phase of the fighting, 5,600 Federal forces are facing off against 8,500 Confederates. We are unable to help. Let's see if we can get the 2nd Division closer to the field. And the 1st Division is also now able to move. The Confederates now have 13,000 soldiers on the field, while we only have 5,600, and still our forces are unable to engage. But they're getting more reinforcements on the battlefield. Fighting has been renewed, still our men are unable to fight, but I guess our soldiers are in contact. We can see a constant influx on prestige on our side. But there's nothing that we can do to actually influence the fighting. We're now looking at 500 casualties for our side and 511 for the Confederates. And we have a 39% victory chance at this siege. And to make sure that we're not so hated amongst our Federal comrades, I'm going to reconcile with the men. The 4th Division is able to march again. Let's get them forward. And the Morrill Land Grant Act has been signed. Lincoln signs the act into law. Engineering and education is boosted. The government can now donate public lands, and the US is going to take the lead in technical studies. And the first colored Union troops are recruited. Colorado men are taking arms, and there's a massive amount of disbelief in the South. There's still the question if the black men are willing to fight or if they're going to run, but I have no doubt that they are going to fight. All black regiments are now formed, giving us a massive amount of manpower, as long as they're not going to be handed to McLellan. Some of our men are still stuck in a siege, but I wonder what's going to happen if we send those of our divisions forward that are able to move. Maybe with this we can break the siege and send the rebels running, as they might not be prepared to fight. Our soldiers are now engaging the enemy. More of our reinforcements are coming up. But it looks like the numerical superiority is still on side of the enemy. Our divisions are now in contact with the enemy, but they have 12,000 men while we have 8,600. Let's hope that we can at least influence this siege. We are apparently part of it now, and we are not leading an assault. Casualties are still starting to rise, but it looks like we are now getting better chances to win this siege. And I think it is better to let this siege trickle down, especially as we now have... Wait a second. Allegedly, we now have 16,000 soldiers available, while the enemy has only 12,000. This is a massive chance for us. All of the forces are about to be deployed immediately. Let's hope that we have the option to drive the enemy back. Today is the 22nd June 1862. Our scouts report the enemy is near Manassas Bridge, Virginia, and our army is to prepare for battle. We are facing the army of Shenandoah under command of Henry R. Jackson with strengths of some 9,000 men and 22 guns. The enemy army is battle experienced and the morale is reported to be confident. Reports indicate the supply situation is outstanding. The supply state of our army is outstanding as well. And we are fighting a defensive battle. Our objectives are to hold the Stone Bridge and Warrington Turnpike. For now, the battle can begin, and the plan is rather simple. Over here we have dug in a couple parapets, and we have filled them with a couple soldiers so that we have a fallback line. But some of our divisions are going to rush forward and try to capture the Stone Bridge and make sure that the enemy has a hard time crossing. Some of our forces have been ordered forward. The same goes for our 2nd Division. We are ordered to defend our location, but I would hope that we can stop the enemy from crossing. Our men are advancing. And we can see that the Confederate onslaught is getting ready for battle. Let's hope that they are not going to use this and this fort. This would leave us an easy opportunity to take over the enemy in a crossfire. Let's hope the men get a move on rather quickly. Over here the first parts of our units are pushing up. They're going to be a flanking force. I want the artillery to take position over here, while their infantry is going to set up alongside this fence line. This way, with their rifles, they should have an option to outflank any enemy forces that is starting to cross. And the 5th Division is also starting to cross the river. Let's get some skirmishers forward to delay the enemy advance. Over here the 5th Division is taking their sweet time to move out, but they're soon going to reach the battlefield. Let's hope it's not too late and we have to withdraw already. Over here this division is also starting to push up. These 10-pounders have an excellent flank on the enemy. And we are now getting in contact with some detachment from the enemy themselves. First Vermont Cavalry, I want you to shoot at the enemy. Oh well, if you want to give them the cold steel, do that, but otherwise withdraw, please. We can see that the 10th South Carolina is coming up. We have done some damage to the enemy. Now cavalry, fall back. We ordered to engage. We are definitely going to do that. And we need to send those men forward a little, as we are otherwise unable to actually hit them. Our detachments have the option to drive back the enemy a little bit, and some parts of the 5th Division are now coming up. Very good. You'll love to see it. These artillery pieces are now also coming up. Come on, man. Get a move on. If possible, I want to take over these fence lines. They should give us an excellent flanking position. And these guns can start shelling the enemy. Let's get the 28th Pennsylvania forward just a little bit so that we have a better position on them. And these men need to desperately get out of the fighting. They are getting outflanked. They are now about to break. And there's a massive force of enemy concentrating over there. Let's get some fire over there. I was not aware of that fort. What do we have in the area? 5th Illinois is struggling to set up, and I think I need to relocate those artillery pieces if we do not want to lose them. Otherwise we only have the 5th New Jersey and the 14th New York to help contest this crossing. And I don't think that we have the strength to do so. Let's get those parrot rifles back. And these men forward to make sure that our soldiers get a little bit more time. These men need to fall back. The same goes with these soldiers. This flanking attack definitely didn't work as planned. Let's get these men forward. Our men from Rhode Island are able to hit the enemy. The 8th New York is getting hit themselves. And the 89th New York also needs to get forward. Well, these skirmishes are starting to waver. And we're going to get some more reinforcements up and running. Then also these artillery pieces should be able to fire. There is very little cohesion currently in our lines. Come on, man. Get yourself together. And we can see that we are stopping the enemy currently from crossing, but we are taking casualties. The 2nd Rhode Island needs to push up. And these men are able to hit the 51st Virginia. Very good. Some more reinforcements are getting up here. And this detachment is about to be driven back. We should be able to destroy these advancing cavalrymen. Especially if we focus all of our energy on them. The 27th Pennsylvania was unfortunately repelled. And we can see that apparently they are not contesting this crossing anymore. Meaning that we can get some more soldiers forward. These artillery pieces can now continue shelling the enemy. They do not need to withdraw. And just in case, we are going to get this cavalry unit forward. We still have soldiers on our reserve lines. Very good, very good. How is the situation looking? This detachment is struggling to keep on fighting. These men are absolutely demolishing the enemy. 13th South Carolina is getting outflanked, but they still have a large amount of manpower. Over here another detachment is wavering, but luckily only a detachment. More forces are pushing up, trying to get our soldiers over here. We're taking some casualties. And we are even able to get some skirmishers out that I'm planning to send on the enemy flank. These men from Pennsylvania, I do not know where they are running. Hit the enemy, do not try to get on defense line. Well, these men with this Mississippi rifle just need to get a little bit closer. No, do not go on defense line. Just a little bit forward, so that you can actually hit them in the flank. This detachment was driven back, but we can absolutely live with that. Our New Yorkers only took 1 casualties and they are hitting the enemy. Very good. So these men took 28, however. Otherwise, losses are acceptable. Let's get these soldiers, if possible, in the field. And our guns are able to hit the enemy. We have some more artillery deployed that is apparently unable to hit. Let's get those guns forward. And let's also get our HQs forward to make the communication between our units a lot easier. We can now see that enemy cavalry is starting to advance. Our skirmishers are hitting the enemy flank. First Vermont cavalry, you need to get over here to make sure that these cavalrymen are not destroying our skirmish line. Our artillery hopefully tears apart this unit with canister shots. And these men are taking more and more casualties. Artillery, open fire, do not get too close to the enemy. We are holding them back rather well. Our detachment is still on the field, even though they are wavering. We can see that the 13th South Carolina is trying to push, and these men need to fall back under fire to get out of a dangerous situation. Let's hope we can get those soldiers out before they rout. If the 13th South Carolina takes a couple steps more forward, we are on their flank. Now let's take a look on enemy casualties. So far we have suffered only 71 killed, 218 wounded and 40 missing. In total 329 casualties, meaning that 2% of our corps have become casualties. But on the Confederate side they have suffered over 137 killed, 626 wounded and 128 missing, meaning that they have total casualties of 891 soldiers, 6% of their entire force. The enemy onslaught is starting to press on our lines. I am currently unwilling to send our last reserves out. And we are once more facing the entire enemy army alone, as our allied forces are unwilling to push. Over here I'm going to send the 4th Brigade, that is only consisting of 1 unit, forward. And I'm also going to send the divisional command down. With that we can hopefully extend and secure our flank. Our detachment is miraculously still on the field, even though they have taken a lot of casualties. Let's position the 3rd New Hampshire behind them. Come on. This way one own has to withdraw. We can get them. And why are these men from Pennsylvania rushing headfirst into the enemy? This is definitely not what I ordered. Yeah, these men are going to rout. They are going to break. They're going to take massive casualties. Why are you moving there? Our artillery is getting outflanked. I do not know from where. Let's pull those guns back for a moment. 5th New York needs to deliver cover fire. Come on. Pennsylvania, get out of there. You're exposing your rear. Run. Well, Lieutenant Colonel Charles S. Lowell was willing to sacrifice over 200 of his soldiers, unwilling to follow a simple order. Let's hope he is surviving so that he can write all of those letters home. The 3rd Rhode Island is starting to get outflanked. They need to focus on the units that are directly in front of them. The 18th New York needs to get forward. Otherwise, we now have a good option to flank the enemy that is pushing up over here. The 1st Florida is coming up. Down here we were able to hunt back the 19th Georgia. And we can see that the enemy is sending more soldiers forward. 5th New Jersey is able to hit the enemy. These guns are getting outflanked. They're taking casualties. Let's hope we can evacuate them. And our cavalry needs to dismount. And face the 17th Georgia. Hopefully we can get on the river line. And hold them back. More enemy cavalry under the 7th Virginia is coming up. They only have 4 men. They're already wavering. As they should. And these men can hopefully hit the 17th Georgia in the flank. Yes, there's the 7th Virginia routed. They might have taken a casualty or 2. Well, we are unable to figure it out. They've taken 1 casualty, only 3 men remaining. I wonder that this regiment is still there. Over here, the 27th Pennsylvania has recovered. Let's get those men forward. And we are routing a couple more of their units. Let's get the commander of the 3rd Brigade out of the fighting. 3rd Rhode Island is starting to waver. Let's get them back. Allowing some others to open fire. Over here our position is getting harder to hold. These men from Rhode Island also need to fall back. The enemy pressure is extremely hard. And I am missing a regiment that I had ordered to take position over here. Well, we can't figure out where it is now. We desperately need some reinforcements. And we're going to get our reserve units from the trenches forward. Over here we should be able to hit the 17th Georgia. We have a carbine, meaning that we have a much faster reload time. Our guns are unfortunately about to break, but they have set up again. Very good. Our New Yorkers are able to hit the enemy. Let's get them forward a little bit. 17th Pennsylvania only has the Springfield musket and they are firing on mediocre range. And over here these soldiers need to focus on the 7th Alabama. They are getting outflanked. Up here we have Gibbs detachment coming up and our reinforcements are also getting on the battlefield. We now have a minor victory. The battle day is coming to a close. The morale of the enemy is fading. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hit many of their artillery pieces. But killing enough of the soldiers is also a win in my books. There is another enemy unit routed, and it looks like this is going to be a superb defensive victory. Yes, over here our cavalry was able to hold. Let's send this detachment forward just a little bit, and these soldiers as well. The enemy still has some men on the field. Let's get them forward. And let's try to hit them in the flanks if we can. We order to retreat, Major General. Morale of your troops is wavering. Our army has been ordered to retreat from battlefield. Withdraw your troops orderly through one of the exit points. I will do no such thing. I will remain on the battlefield. The enemy is on the retreat. We can now push them and give them what they deserve. We are not conceding this battlefield. Not after we have bled so hard for it. Come on, man. Onwards, over the top. Hit them good. Everyone who gets us an enemy artillery piece, I will personally reward them in gold. We are definitely not going to retreat, and we are definitely not going to let the enemy get away without contesting that retreat. We have some forces still over here on the stone bridge. Come on, man. Fire on long range. The 39th New York was unfortunately routed. But we still have many more soldiers willing to move up. Over here, another unit. The 14th Georgia was routed. Very good. Let's get the 16th Georgia a good taste of their medicine. Very good. Come on, man. Get forward. Get them. Get them. Yes, there's another unit routed. And now, charge the enemy artillery line. Make sure that they have to abandon at least some of their priceless artillery pieces. 1st Vermont Cavalry is charging in. They've taken so far 14 casualties. We are now outflanked, but I don't think that the enemy has anyone left to shoot at us. We are rushing in. Very good hits. Very good hits. Yes, we have inflicted a ton of casualties, and if possible, we are now going to charge the 16th South Carolina Battery. Well, if that's possible at least. Then at least shoot them into submission. Come on, man. Everyone, move up, move up, move up. Very good, very good. We are now sending them running. If possible, some of our detachments can get some of their guns. If they have not been completely abandoned, well, we can't get them, unfortunately. We have one more artillery battery over here. Our soldiers are rushing in. We are trying to get them in immediately. Very good. Let's also get our cavalry on the enemy side. We are rushing in. Very good. We have apparently destroyed this entire unit. There's the 1st Texas Battery. We have seen them on the battlefield multiple times. Can we also get them? Only 6 minutes left for this fight. Yes, we are inflicting many casualties on them. They are trying to retreat. And I guess we have also annihilated this force. And we have our first victory in Corps Command. In total, we have suffered only 1,089 casualties, while the enemy has suffered 2,650, and we even forced them to abandon all of their artillery. Victory at Manassas Bridge. The army of Shenandoah withdraws and Lieutenant Colonel Lowell loses face. And Lieutenant Colonel Lee also loses face. The support for the rebel cause wavers. And I guess we have broken that siege. We can see that the enemy is now on the retreat. But unfortunately, the majority of our forces are not in the position to follow them. But I think this has to be it for the moment. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and until we meet again, I wish you all a great time.